All right, y'all. What's up? We have a returning guest on tonight. I started to say Comrade Slavoj Zizek, but I'm very tired. This is not Slavoj Zizek. Comrade Matt is intensely more good looking than this Slovenian, Slovakian, Serbian, whatever the fuck he is, troll. But why am I so mad at Slavoj Zizek? Like, any other day I wouldn't pay any attention to him, but I think this is a day that we need to pay attention to him because he said this during an interview with Piers Morgan.
To see both sides of this, and that's made you unpopular with both sides. And I've done the same, where I try and look at it fairly and understand the history, but also understand what happened.
Okay, first of all, like Pierce is cooked. He's never really been good. Okay, but like all this both sides shit, like millions of people are getting ready to starve to death. Millions of people are being murdered. Like there was another massacre today of people that were trying to get food. There was a massacre of people outside Al Shifa Hospital. Okay, so there is no both sides. There's only one side. And if you're not on the side of justice, you're on the side of evil. That's pretty much all there is. Like there is no further you can dig. But some people, some white people in the West continue to they keep trying to find two sides. They keep trying to find two sides. Why? Because, well, they love playing devil's advocate. Is it because white people are the devil? I don't know.
On October the 7th. And
Slavoj, you know, I have a better voice than him too, for sure.
You do.
Proportionality of
But you know what? He's kind of trying to become a TikToker.
More power to him.
What is your...
But let's listen and see, like, why is BRG so mad at Slavoj? That's how you pronounce the bastard's name?
View of where we are with the Israel-Hamas war and what's happening in Gaza.
First, to clarify things, even if some people now claim that Hamas is
this guy acts like he's had a TBI or something.
Basically a armed resistance movement. In some sense, it is. But nonetheless,
I know he does have a speech disorder, but not sure what it's called.
I don't know. Maybe it's called being white. I don't know.
Most of it.
He's always blowing his nose.
Especially October
He's always
the
sniffling.
7th attack were purely, clearly acts of terror.
Yes.
You know why? I didn't know people there in that area attacked by Hamas, but I knew people who knew the people there, and they were shocked. You know that raving party.
That raving party. It's not a rave, it's a raving party.
I didn't think he could get worse than constant debates with reactionaries that he used to do. This is horrible.
It is, and he hasn't even said the worst part yet.
In all of Israel, the young people.
He would show up and talk to Jordan Peterson and just like agree with everything that dude said.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's in the works.
Meant to be an act of solidarity with Gaza.
No, I mean he's done it in the past.
Hamas slaughtered was a kibbutz well known for helping, even half illegally, people in Gaza. All
if they want to help people in Gaza, then they can get the fuck off Palestinian land.
The time. So here things are absolutely clear. At the same time,
nothing less than full liberation.
Exactly.
Have big problems with this almost, I would say, pseudo-religious nationalist twist by Netanyahu and especially some guys in his government.
So you don't have any problems with fucking Israel existing? You just have, Netanyahu, but. So the state of the workers' movement, Slavoj isn't white, he is Slovenian. Listen, if he was able to sit in the front of the bus in 1952, he's white. So the state of the workers' movement, you prepared this lovely, very well organized for you thing
for me.
Yeah, for this tonight. So the ALU, which is basically where you cut your organizing teeth, right? So this was March 4th. And this just shows like how much good shit is buried. Like I didn't know anything about this, but the Amazon Labor Union Democratic Reform Caucus, which, if I recall correctly, has as its goal to turn the Amazon Labor Union from a sort of personal fiefdom and clout chasing vehicle for Christian Smalls into an actual union, right? That's the purpose of the
Yeah.
DRC.
It has been a long struggle. Last summer is when a lot of this kicked off, and they had to sue. They had to sue for the right to have elections again, to have elections of their leadership. There were no elections or anything the first time. There was no elections on the Constitution the first time, except between the unelected executives. So, so many Amazon workers had to speak up and get threatened and bullied by the executives. Chris Smalls was out there throwing haymakers at people who disagreed with him. His own people in the union.
Wait, this guy who's received international acclaim for taking on Amazon, he's now out physically assaulting members of his own union?
Yeah, something that happened last winter. He claims a worker was harassing him. It was just a worker that was voicing his discontent with everything that Chris was doing. Chris acting ridiculous. And Chris caught him at the bus stop, and Derek Palmer was there, the former vice president, the domestic abuser. He held this worker down, held his arms back while Chris was throwing haymakers and shit at him.
That's fucking crazy. This is like some Jimmy Hoffa Teamsters shit. But this statement, it says that the question of a referendum, concluded their first ever internal union referendum. It was historical for the union as two important questions were asked to the membership of the ALU at JFK 8. Oh, where did that go? Oh, here he is. You need to move out of the fucking sticks and learn what decent internet is. Anyways, so the questions that they asked are: should our union conduct elections for the officer roles? And should our union form an elected 11-person constitution committee to review and revise the union's constitution? My question is like, why weren't they already doing this stuff?
Yeah, like everything was just passed in secret by Smalls. And as you said earlier, this shit is underground. I'm still meeting people that don't know there's a reform caucus. They don't know what has been going on behind the scenes.
That's crazy. So the mayor of New York tried to host an iftar tonight, and this is what happened. If you don't know, an iftar is basically during Ramadan when Muslims fast during the day. The iftar is when they break their fast during the night. So it's a very large and beautiful communal meal. And mayor of New York, the fascist mayor of New York, Eric Adams, decided that he wanted to sully this beautiful and centuries-old tradition by having an iftar in which little to no Muslims were allowed to attend. Like, it was basically all cops. So let's see what this guy had to say. This guy got put out of the iftar. This is where we are in New York City.
Got a whole ass escort.
Yeah, this is where we are in New York City, which is supposed to be like the entrepot of internationalism into the United States. You have cops escorting a visible Muslim out of an iftar during the holy month of Ramadan. And of course, he has a kid with him, and the cops don't care anything about that.
I mean, New York's been fucking crazy lately, militarizing their subway.
When has New York never been crazy? Like, when has New York not been crazy? Like, I'm pretty sure that's what they're known for. They market themselves as like the crazy capital of the United States, don't they?
Hey, we're fucked up. Come here and enjoy some Italian food.
Yeah, even if you don't enjoy the Italians.
You want to tell us what just happened?
We just disrupted Eric Adams. He's hosting an iftar for Muslim Americans, half of the tables are empty. They're filled with only police officers and corrections officers. Muslims have boycotted this event successfully. Eric Adams, there are no Muslims in there, only munafiqeen, hypocrites, oppressors and aiders to the oppressors. Eric Adams and his phony Muslims in there who are not real Muslims. We did not recognize a single person from the Muslim community in New York City. I am a part of the Muslim community of New York City. I did not see one congregant. I did not see one leader. This is a sham.
That was dope. I'd love to see the look on Eric Adams' face, but that's what happens when you elect a former cop to be the mayor of a city. Well, is somebody ever a former cop? So, the Democratic caucus of the ALU is going to Havana pretty soon.
Yeah, they are. Last time the ALU sent their executives on a delegation, and like Chris Smalls and them just treated it like a vacation.
I remember that. Yeah, I saw Chris Smalls in his little grill, all down in Havana, and like, oh yeah, solidarity. This is so cool. You know, hanging out and meeting all these revisionists and such. But this is really good. Like, actual organizers are being able to take part because, like,
because this is a chance for real international solidarity. But however, Chris Smalls did behave better than our DSA comrades who went.
Hey.
The ones who criticized Cuba the whole time.
That was only one person.
Just one person?
That was only one person from one caucus. Don't tar us with that dirty brush.
Okay. All right. One of the people in the chat was asking what they should do if they should join a settler Marxist org or whatever. You should join the DSA, please. We need more people that want to get organized.
Are you being serious? Or are you trying to be funny?
Oh, no, I'm serious.
Yeah, I would tell them the same thing. Like, I mean, wherever you are, it's probably the biggest show in town. But we're not here for the biggest show in town. We're here to make revolution. But there are a lot of people who believe in the necessity of revolution in DSA. Like, it's not what it was in 2016. In 2016, I would tell you to stay far the fuck away from DSA because it was basically just an electoral. It was basically just an electoral thing. But now, like, there's several good projects that are being carried through, and dozens, if not hundreds, of actual communists have joined and are fundamentally in the process of changing the character of the organization. So yeah, I definitely agree that you should join DSA.
Absolutely. And anytime I take a campaign through EWOC, workers reach out for help. One of the first things I do is I get them talking to their local DSA chapter. And there's always a local chapter somewhere in proximity of workers that reach out that is more than willing to pitch in and help.
Yeah. Like, I know from my own experience, like STO DSA, like it has its rightists. Every DSA chapter, every left organization has its leftists and it has its rightists. So your job as a communist should be to join and help shore up the left. Otherwise, you allow rightists to do whatever the fuck they want, and we shouldn't be in the habit of allowing rightists to do whatever the fuck they want. What's this? There's a
that's a tweet from Seth Goldstein. So a bunch of corporations have joined together to bring the National Labor Relations Board to the Supreme Court and try and get it ruled as unconstitutional. The effect that this would have is it would mean the NLRB can no longer settle labor disputes with their own judges. They would have to use federal judges in the different federal districts. Because the NLRB has its own judges. They're technically federal judges, right? But they would just be fired if it was ruled unconstitutional.
Yeah, I keep seeing this Project 2025 thing brought up. It's basically like the political line of the Trump cult, right?
Yeah, it's pretty fucking vicious.
Hey, man. And I've been meaning to like do more research into it, but like just from what I've seen, it's basically like, oh yeah, this is what fascism looks like. This is what we're going to do. This is like the Department of Education. What do they want to do to the Department of Education? Elementary and secondary education policy should follow the path outlined by Milton Friedman, who was notoriously not a teacher. Like, he didn't. Was he a professor? I don't know, but I wouldn't trust Milton Friedman on anything pertaining to education of children. But they basically want to devolve most of the shit down to the fucking states. And yeah, states' rights. Student loans and grants should ultimately be restored to the private sector. Okay. Yeah. That'll be really cool. But, yeah, scary shit. So, back to this one you were talking about. You have a lot of background noise. Are you trying to blow my ears out?
It's me with the background noise?
Yeah, it's you with the background noise.
It's my furnace that came on. Shit.
Oh, turn it off and freeze. So yeah, a lot of lawsuits from bad people, especially SpaceX and Amazon and Trader Joe's. This is why a lot of people, like a lot of union heads or a lot of, I guess in the Maoist movement, we would call them economists, are like they are like endorsing Biden because like this is all that they care about. Like they don't see any intersectionality or like how all of this shit is connected. They're just like, we have to defend the NLRB. And yeah, I get why they like that. I get why they're like that because like unions are their thing. Worker protections are their things. But like at the same time, like you got 1.1 million people in Gaza that are getting ready to starve to death. Like you can't just focus exclusively on yourself. Like when Sean Fain endorsed Biden, a lot of Palestinians were upset about that. They were like, this guy's a fucking sellout. He's trafficking in our struggle and trying to shore up support from us for his union. I mean, the UAW does have a lot of Palestinian members, but like you're throwing a membership under the bus because you want to protect Biden's NLRB, which apparently, from what I've heard, is very cool. But you have to see yourself as part of a global struggle. That's what makes you a proletarian. Going out on strike or parading around in front of wherever with a picket sign, that doesn't make you a proletarian. Recognizing that your plight is connected to the plight of Palestinian workers, of Haitian workers, of Congolese workers, of Venezuelan workers, of Cuban workers. That's what makes you a proletarian. Otherwise, you're nothing but a labor aristocrat, right?
This. It's labor Zionism is still so common amongst the union heads.
Labor Zionism, if I recall correctly, used to be pretty predominant in DSA as well.
Yes.
Like during the whole Harrington era. Thankfully, that's something that isn't openly declared anymore. But like in the 80s and 90s, like that was their thing.
So those are the Amazon Teamsters who have been on strike for quite a while, and they've been trying to get contractors reclassified as full-time employees in every conceivable measurement, right? Even the labor board tried to get a rule passed called the Joint Employee Board, where contractors would have the same right to bargain with the main employer.
What happened to
so the company would be equally liable, and they wouldn't have to bargain with just the contractor.
What happened to Zizek? Somebody in chat asked. Unfortunately, he was found alive this morning. No, he did an interview with Piers Morgan where he basically lambasted Hamas and called them terrorists. And it's hilarious how people think this guy is some type of subversive philosopher, and in reality, he's just some old racist Eastern European dude who doesn't want Arabs in his country.
And he keeps bombarding YouTube with short videos, and TikTok with short videos and clips.
Unemployed Workers United. This is cool. Show your support for temp workers fighting to raise the worker standards. Over the past year, we have been collecting stories from workers impacted by our government's decision to end federal pandemic unemployment benefits during a global pandemic. Hundreds of workers have shared their experiences of hardship and perseverance, but the problems we are dealing with go far beyond our government's decision to end unemployment benefits. The city of Houston and the county have active contracts with temporary staffing agencies that employ Houstonians. Despite growing evidence of workers' rights violations, it does not regulate them, leaving these agencies to operate freely in the shadows. Well, that's fucked up. So there's a little pledge here that you can sign and show your support as temp workers are fighting to raise worker standards in the temp agency.
And I wanted to say a little something about this. That campaign is primarily organizing in Houston and Los Angeles at the moment. I went and did some phone banking with them to reach out to residents of LA County.
Okay. I like this diversity. Like, the thing that gets me is, like, if you're in LA or if you're in Houston, two very black and Hispanic cities, and your people, your organization doesn't look like this, then you're fucking up. Like, if it's just a bunch of hipster looking ass white dudes, like, no, we need black people of all ages, we need Latino people of all ages, and they need to be front and center in this stuff. But yeah, especially talking about like temp agencies, like that's how they exploit a lot of black people who have felonies, who cannot get like work through traditional ways. Like, if you're just home from prison, nobody's going to want to hire you. Like, there have been campaigns to ban the box in several cities and several states because that's a way that these companies take advantage of or discriminate against people. Thank you. That fucking thing cut off. Talking about your furnace, but yeah. So there have been several campaigns to ban the box because that's a way that employers discriminate against people who are predominantly black and Latino, who are just coming home from being incarcerated in the criminal injustice system. So I'm all for this. Unemployed workers need to unite, especially temp workers.
Absolutely, precarious labor is just still not catching up to full-time labor, and a lot of this fight is inspired by, again, trying to get contractors reclassified as employees of the main company. And, because they work for that fucking company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so DoorDash drivers have had to fight. Some drivers have even formed their own worker cooperative in New York that is fucking based.
Yeah.
And a little bit of something else about this fight. Those Amazon Teamsters that we looked at earlier, they were drivers. And they unionized, and then their contract was cut soon after they unionized.
Yeah, so there's all, like, what a lot of people understand about these companies, and it always kills me with, like, people who make maybe $35,000 a year, like, they're making excuses for Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. Like, these people, they don't even make excuses for themselves. They don't. They rely on idiots like you to be like, oh, well, they have to do no, they don't have to do anything. These are the most profitable companies in the history of humanity, in the history of capitalism. If they want to pay everybody $500,000 a year, they can do it. But they don't want to. Why? Because this is class struggle. And in the class struggle, nothing is given to you without struggle. That's what a lot of people don't understand. They think that if you just petition or if you suck the ruling class's dick enough, then they'll give you whatever you want. That's not going to happen. They're just going to fucking kick you and laugh at you and then exploit even more of you. I also particularly like this. UWU works at the interest. Uwu?
It sounds like an anime thing.
They really... Anyways, they work at the intersection of worker power and modern digital and data-driven organizing to help our movements reach millions. I think this acronym had to had to be intentional. A Zoomer did this, but so they
It
don't.
it's primarily made up of young people. Yeah.
Okay. Do people in DSA actually engage in line struggle, or do they dogmatically follow whatever school of thought they came in with? Actually, people often have their like. I've seen like several people like have their underlying political beliefs changed through participation in DSA and exposure to no good people like me. Um, or like some people don't even have an ideology. Some people, their ideology is uh, Bernie or it's NGO shit. Like there's all different types of people in DSA. There's even anarchists in DSA. So you got the Take Back Our Homes campaign, which is organizing to fight the mass and unjust eviction and displacement of our families and neighbors. We are building power alongside poor and working class communities to create a system that guarantees dignified housing for all Arizonans. Okay. And then you have the Power Up Harris County campaign. The power for our homes and businesses in Texas costs too much, fails too often, and is killing us. But it doesn't have to be this way. We don't have to accept high prices for low quality services and bad working conditions. I agree. Join us in moving Texas into a future that works for everyone. So these are based. I wish them all the luck in the world.
And then the next thing is that's that Harlan County movie I talked about a while ago.
I went to work when I was 10 years old.
However, I think it's completely stupid because the NLRB, to a large degree, works in the favor of employers. Before the National Labor Relations Board, employers would just like be killed, right? A Teamster would come up to a boss and bust his fucking kneecaps with a baseball bat. Or they'd go missing in a holler somewhere in Kentucky, particularly during the County War.
Were your family members wrapped up in any of this shit, Matt? Were your family coal miners, or were they Yankees?
Unfortunately, not. No, they were immigrants and they had a farm.
Oh, immigrants. Okay, so they came after all the Harlan County shit.
At around the same time, like the year 1900, but they were like better off immigrants. So, yeah.
Immigrants from where? Like the UK or somewhere?
Germany.
Ooh, Deutschland. So the Krauts escaped the coal mines.
Yeah.
That's fair.
There weren't as many Krauts in coal mines as there were Eastern Europeans.
Or black people.
In labor history, Miss Louise Brown recounts her experience as a hospital worker on strike in 1960.
And that comes from Union of Southern Service Workers.
Okay.
They had this lady telling her story about a strike in the late 60s.
In 1969. I was working at the Medical University, which is now MUSC. And we were working very hard, and we loved nursing. We wanted to meet with the president because we was being overworked and underpaid. We had to go to work, find somebody to mind our children, get the bus back and forth to work, eat our lunch, and we were not making enough money. Because we were poor women working at the MUSC, they did not respect us, our time that we put in. I and 12 other women were invited to come to Dr. McCoy's office.
Oh, God. He does not look like a very... Oh, boy. Why does every Southern person with power look like this?
The Southern aristocracy. They are fucking inbred.
Every Southern person with power looks like this.
When we went there,
they do. Again, it's the Southern aristocracy. It's the people who descend from the plantation owners.
I mean, most black people are descended from plantation owners too, and we don't fucking look like that.
Third trip to his office, we told
no inbreeding.
Oh, that is true. We were very outbred.
Vice President, we did not want to speak with him. That we wanted to speak with Dr. McCoy, who was the president of the hospital. That's who we wanted to speak with. So he went outside to say he's going to go and get him. So he never came back. When he went out there, we took over his office. Yes, we did. We answered the telephone, but we did not tear the office up.
You should have.
Somebody in the chat is a Justified fan.
What is that?
It's a movie about like a sheriff in Harlan County.
Oh, okay. So they made a lot of movies about that shit, huh?
Not many. Just they had the movie that was from 2000, and then a documentary about the same struggle. You know, a very in detail documentary about a strike in Harlan County in the 70s and a reform movement.
The 12 workers were
within
fired
the United Mine Workers.
was already assigned to check on the patients. The unjust firing led to 113 days of strikes, protests, and economic boycotts that brought together.
It says, support the hospital workers of Charleston, South Carolina, buy only food and medicine. 16 businesses, industries, civic associations, and the Ku Klux Klan have issued a statement supporting Governor McNair's refusal to recognize the poor workers' right to organize and bargain for their rights. Which side are you on? You either join the freedom fight or you Tom for Governor McNair. Okay, so they mentioned the Klan. One thing people don't know a lot about the Klan is that, like, they weren't just like people that organized because they disliked black people. Like, these people were tools in the hands of the... I'm going to mute you because I don't know why you haven't fixed your echo, but anyways, so the Klan was like key in strike breaking all throughout the South. Like, if white people tried to form a union, the Klan would come and like just beat the shit out of all of them. So one way in which they were colorblind, so to speak, was when it came time to bust unions. Of course, they were primarily an anti-black terrorist organization, but many of the people that bankrolled and supported and allowed the Klan to get away with its murders and arsons and beatings and other hobbies was like they were puppets and tools of the police, of the textile mill owners, of the mine owners, of the steel mill owners in Birmingham. Like, these people were basically like, they were hired goons for the ruling class.
Faith leaders, students,
They were the cheapest
and other
gun
low-wage
thugs
workers.
that were available to these southern bosses. And a lot of the times they'd do it for free. They'd go out and bash workers' brains in for free. The IWW has a lot of fights with the Klan in their archives.
Yeah. Yeah, and then when you go out west, they didn't necessarily have like the Klan out there big like it was in the South, although there were Klan set chapters, especially in Oregon, which, if I recall correctly, banned black people from even living there. But like Frank Little, if I recall correctly, he was lynched. They murdered, this was the American Legion, I think. They murdered a World War I veteran because he joined the IWW and he was active in soapboxing and speaking on behalf of this organization. So anywhere in this country where you have, I guess you could call criminal anarchists or unionists or any type of progressive movement organizing, you would always find, if not the Klan, some low-class gun thugs that would happily just smash people's fucking brains in because it made their dicks hard.
And the Pacific Northwest, particularly after the Civil War, they had so many Confederates that went over there, like during the Gold Rush and all these events, looking for work on the railroads. And so it really is a stronghold, especially in Southern California.
The Minneapolis City Council has overridden Mayor Jacob Frey's veto on the ordinance that raises ride-hail drivers' pay to be equivalent to Minneapolis's minimum wage. So Uber and Lyft are leaving Minneapolis.
Here's a look at what's
Wonder if there'll be another riot.
happened so far. First, the city council passed a minimum wage for drivers. The mayor vetoed it, and today the council overrode that veto. It all comes as the...
So Jacob Frey, the progressive mayor, the supposed progressive mayor, vetoed an ordinance that raised the pay of these Uber and Lyft drivers to be equivalent to the city's minimum wage. And then he vetoed it because he wants to suck Uber and Lyft's dick. And the council overrode the veto, and now Uber and Lyft are leaving Minneapolis in a hissy fit.
Shit. This is
Companies threatened to shut.
this would have been what happened if that California governor had not excluded Panera and like Subway and fast food franchises with a bakery.
It's not
from the
Panera.
minimum wage.
It's not Panera. It's St. Louis Bread Company. It's Breadco. Don't ever call it Panera again.
Really? I did not know that.
It's St. Louis Bread Company. Don't ever call St. Louis Bread Company Panera again.
Down operations
Okay, I won't.
if the city approved that.
I can do that.
Joining us, and Karen, a lot of reaction to this story, and a lot of people wondering what's going to happen here with Uber and Lyft.
Yeah, a lot of reaction because it impacts a lot of people. But just because there's a new ordinance in place doesn't mean this story is over.
That carries, and the veto is overridden. With that,
it's a done deal for now.
This is a huge victory.
Look at all those Somalis.
As drivers, we feel
I love Somalis.
like we punched the...
A very, very militant and very disciplined and very organized black people. Like, it's no accident that Somalia is like right by Yemen. That area of the world has produced some hard-ass class struggle fighters.
bully in the nose.
The Minneapolis City Council voting 10-3 to overturn Mayor Jacob Fry's
I mean,
veto.
Somalia used to have like a huge communist faction too, didn't they?
Somalia actually used to be governed by people who called themselves communists, yeah.
Minimum wage.
Of course, it was, well, people's opinions on Siad Barre vary, and I don't want to piss my Somali comrades off, and I don't really know all that much about them, so I'm going to not speak on that, because as OG said, no investigation, no right to speak, and I don't want to piss people off.
For Uber and Lyft drivers.
City Council did what we were supposed to do today. We passed policy in response to the needs of our residents, and that is our focus, and that is what we delivered on.
Both rideshare companies say the increase is too much, so they're shutting down operations May 1st.
People that use ride.
How the fuck is minimum wage too much?
Rideshare service need to be prepared.
If it's above $7.25, apparently it's too much.
Rideshare need to be prepared. This is not just about Minneapolis. I think there are repercussions to the entire region where our whole state needs to be prepared.
Fry said state data showed the raises council came up with are unreasonable, and there were better solutions that would have still included increased wages and benefits.
We should be following what the data says, not simply responding to the politics.
No, you should respond to politics because data is political. Everything is political. Nothing stands apart from politics. Like, I hate this whole democratic technocrat bullshit. Oh, data is objective. No, it's not. Data can be manipulated. It can be skewed. It can be warped to say anything. And Fry, as a servant of the ruling class, is, of course, going to use data to try to protect these rideshare companies that exploit their workers. We just talked about the precariat, the precariat, and the gig economy. Like, this is fucking slavery type labor.
At today's vote,
Amazon workers and rideshare workers are a bit similar because we both get fired by an algorithm.
You can get fired by an algorithm.
Yeah, the algorithm fucking lets these drivers go and it lets Amazon workers go.
Wait. Y'all get fired by a fucking robot?
Yeah. Managers at companies like Amazon, they're useless. All they do is look at what the algorithm says about your productivity and your time off task and stuff like that. The algorithm will raise a red flag in the system, and then the manager will have to go and enforce that. That's all managers do, is just tell you what the algorithm said. They're the algorithm's bitch.
That's fucking crazy, bro.
Here in the Twin Cities.
I don't know. It would make me a Luddite if I got fired by a fucking robot.
So why?
Hey, he has the Pan-African colors on. I love how politically advanced the working class in Minneapolis is.
would Lyft or Uber want to leave?
Should they leave? We've been in touch by several rideshare businesses and startups that are more than happy to pay the city's minimum wage and fill the void should they make that decision.
Now, I've heard some people talk
that free market
about getting a new rideshare company up and running. That is not a thing.
There's something in Minneapolis that the audience might be interested in. There is a labor fellowship program in Minneapolis where you can go and study labor at a small institution, just like a labor school. Kind of like how labor notes back in the day, they used to do the troublemaker school, where they would go to a union local, set up shop, and have classes for anybody in labor who wanted to attend.
Mm. And this is your neck of the woods, isn't it? Kentucky.
Yeah, so the workers at KCVG, the air hub in northern Kentucky, they finally got the labor board to rule that Amazon did something illegal.
Really?
Yeah, by firing workers and retaliating against workers.
Holy shit! Isn't the Washington Post owned by Bezos?
Yes.
So so this is a Bezos-owned newspaper reporting on a crime that was committed by a company that is also owned by Jeff Bezos.
Yeah. So the Washington Post has a union that protects them and hates Bezos.
Okay.
And essentially they print off whatever the fuck they want about him.
Yeah, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos.
He makes money.
Amazon founder Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post. Did he buy the Washington Post because they spent so much time like ragging on him?
He bought the Washington Post in like 2010 or something like that. The Washington Post was apparently why he got investigated for the death of Jamal Khashoggi.
Mm-hmm.
That journalist that was executed in Saudi Arabia.
That was brutal. I remember that. They cut dude up with a saw.
But the way they found his location is the Saudis sent malware to Jeff Bezos's phone.
Oh dear. They hacked Jeff Bezos's phone, and they were able to find out where this journalist that they hated was at, and they were able to catch him, and then they cut him up. And there was no retaliation for this at all.
In fact, like they lowered gas prices or something, and it was the end of it.
So you can butcher an American citizen with a fucking bone saw, and then take 50 cents off the price of fucking gas, and all is forgiven.
That's what happened.
Oh. I should keep that in mind the next time I have the inclination to butcher an American citizen with the bone saw. Starbucks finally gets fucked. You should not be drinking Starbucks anyways because they're under boycott, by the way.
So Starbucks workers have finally won their union benefits back. They finally won the same benefits as the non-union workers. Part of Starbucks' retaliation was taking away benefits from workers who unionized. So they've won their benefits back. Starbucks is rehiring workers, giving them their full back pay, starting them back at the same salary. But here's what you'll be interested in. The Starbucks workers and their union were the first ones to call for a boycott of Starbucks.
Really?
They were the first workers in the U.S. to stand for Palestine and to sacrifice for the cause because they got sued by the company. The company tried to sue them over this.
Yeah, I mean, because that's a way to piss your company off. Like, hey, yeah, come boycott us. Don't drink our shit. Don't come here because this is how our company is helping to kill innocent people in Palestine and back up Israel. So yeah, don't come drink our coffee. I mean, yeah,
but And of course, unions are not a monolith because the Starbucks workers, like, they've been about everyone's struggle. They've been on so many strikes to support queer comrades in the workplace when Starbucks was fucking
Actually,
around.
pretty much all of the Starbucks Workers United people I've met are queer.
Yes, queer, and it has a transgender leadership.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of trans folks that are in leadership, a lot of black folks that are in the leadership.
It's probably yeah. If I had to like pick a vanguard of the American labor struggle, I would definitely pick Starbucks Workers United.
Absolutely. And yeah, the company is finally starting to bargain with these workers. This is what happens when you do boycotts and strikes against the company. When you put that much pressure on them and make them hemorrhage that much money.
Okay.
But the Starbucks workers, they always had each other's backs. They had a community of workers, a strong foundation. So they had something to look forward to keep them going besides just this contract. As I said so many times, a contract is often a kind of pie in the sky. It's a pipe dream. It's something that is often unattainable. That is supposed to be a map of all the unionized Starbucks locations.
I know. I'm looking at one. I'm looking at my city right now. So there's one,
Nice.
Kings and Chippewa. Yeah, St. Louis has a lot of unionized locations. Afton, Gravois and Rock Hill, Dogtown, Hampton Avenue. So yeah, but union or not, you should not be going to Starbucks. Starbucks Workers United tells you that. Let's see how many there are.
Absolutely.
Let's see how many there are in Kentucky. It looks mostly.
Yeah, most of them are in the city of Louisville. Like, Louisville is a union town. That's what it's called now. We got the biggest Teamsters presence. We got all of the coffee houses unionized now, pretty much in the same union. So that department of the SEIU called Workers United, that the Starbucks workers are a part of. There's a lot of other coffee unions there too.
There aren't any unionized Starbucks in Mississippi at all.
Shit.
Like zero. The closest one is in Memphis. But like the whole state, and I know there's Starbucks in Mississippi, especially like up here, it's Oxford. That's a college town. There has to be a Starbucks there. Jackson, like all these Gulf, like there's Starbucks in Mississippi, but like there's no unions. New Orleans has unions, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, yeah, Texas, all unions out here. But like Mississippi is just like a big fucking nothing. There's one unionized Starbucks in West Virginia, it looks like. So I guess that's where Bernie's home state of Vermont. There's appears to be one in South Burlington. New York, of course, New York is always going to share out a lot on the East Coast. But yeah, interesting map. I'm trying to find if there's another state that doesn't have any unionized Starbucks at all. Montana, maybe? No, there's unionized Starbucks in Montana. The Dakotas, Iowa, Idaho. Yeah, Idaho and Mississippi don't appear to have any unionized Starbucks. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's thousands of stores though, and that's one of the problems. So there's only about 10,000, slightly more than 10,000 workers in this union so far.
Well, they need to get more. They need to hit up Mississippi. UAW organizing extravaganza. I really haven't had all that much time for the UAW since Sean Fain's opportunism. But what have they done?
Yeah, him endorsing Genocide Joe.
Yeah. But, like, that's the thing. Like, Palestine is the most important issue right now. The key issue right now. Not economistic bullshit like squabbling over, like, how to divide this fucking imperialist pie. Like, how can we show support for Palestine? That's what's important right now. And if you endorse Genocide Joe just because you think he has a better NLRB, then, like, that's scabbing on the international proletariat, in a way. Many states are gutting basic labor protections. Kentucky lunch break bill.
They're trying to take away our fucking required breaks. So, and there was this senator who had the audacity to say, no, we're actually strengthening worker protections by clarifying that if you eat on the shop floor, you don't get punished for it and you get paid for it. That's what he said. That's what he said to the AFL-CIO.
I want to eat my lunch in a break room, and I want to eat my lunch on a fucking factory floor. I would rather.
This is just another thing to come out of this horrible legislative session because we have a Republican supermajority. Like how they're criminal. Y'all basically have one of the same bills over there in your state that is trying to criminalize homelessness and be tough on crime, correct?
Yeah.
Criminalize everything under the fucking sun.
Yep. Pratt said that the new version of the bill actually strengthens workers' rights because it requires employers to relieve workers from any work duties while taking a meal break and to pay workers if they end up having to eat while working.
That's not what it does. That's not what this legislation does.
I can tell that's not what it does. The dude's fucking lying through his teeth. Oh. Now help you guys. That's fucked. Oh, this is Teamsters mobilized. This is still a thing?
Yeah, it's a legitimate caucus in the Teamsters, and it's made up of all their radicals. They started whenever they realized that the Teamsters were going to take another horrible, shitty contract with UPS last summer that fucked over all of the part-time workers, that is fucking over all of the younger members on their pensions. It's lackluster and only slightly better than the last contract.
Yeah. And like I'm not the best educated on contracts and shit like that. Like, I'm more of a big picture politics guy. But like this guy Sean O'Brien, the general president of the Teamsters, like he met with Trump. Okay, that's bullshit number one. Like, why is a union president meeting with Donald Trump?
This is what happens when a union does not invest in educating their members
politically
on what is in their interests.
Or just say political education. Like, this guy's a demagogue.
Absolutely.
He's been charged with 4 separate criminal cases, 91 felony counts, and a civil case. He supported national right-to-work legislation, 3 reactionary Supreme Court justices. Judges sided with other 3 reactionary Supreme Court justices in ruling against the Teamsters, such as in Glacier Northwest Incorporated versus Teamster Local 174, called Mexican migrants criminals, drug dealers, and rapists, referred to Haiti and African nations as shithole countries, created an executive order banning individuals from predominantly Muslim countries. In a recorded interview with Access Hollywood's Billy Bush, he said he bragged about sexual violence towards women. He was found liable for sexual assault. He was found guilty of discriminating against working-class African-American progressive tenants in the late 1970s. So, yeah, there's the reason that Sean O'Brien should have met with this guy, but him being white and him being a labor aristocrat and him being an opportunist, he saw nothing wrong with it.
They gave Trump money.
They gave Trump money?
They gave money to
this guy. This guy tried to push a national right-to-work bill, and they gave him money?
Trump even appointed people to the NLRB that were destroying the NLRB, just like with the post office and all these other services.
This is why a lot of people say that, like, American workers aren't really a proletariat, because they're not a class for themselves. It's like ping pong. They're constantly being kicked back and forth between the Democrats and Republicans. Democrats and the Republicans, and they get nothing as a class out of this, and they're all struggling for like gains for themselves, but other workers apparently can get fucked.
It's the mythology of the white proletariat.
Yeah, the proletarians in Gaza can get fucked. The proletarians in Haiti can get fucked. The proletarians in the Congo can get fucked. The proletarians in South Africa, the proletarians anywhere outside of your own little union can get fucked, apparently. Like, that's how these people think. That's why Starbucks Workers United, that's why unions that have as their base and as their rank and file a majority, or at least a large number of younger, black and brown and queer people like these, that's why these unions are the vanguard of the working class movement. Like, that's where your proletariat is going to come from.
Absolutely. If you're gonna fuck with unions, you better fuck with the radicals.
Yeah. Exactly.
The Teamsters mobilized, even released like a pro-Palestinian rap song. That'll be in like the next part of the site.
Oh.
The site I made.
Oh, okay. Let me this rap thesis.
Brothers and sisters, B.A. Abide, also known as Barry Anderson, part of the Teams to Mobilize. Let's organize. Free Palestine. Yo.
That guy kind of looks like me with hair.
Yo.
I wonder if we're related.
Plain to see, no time for subliminals. Call out the bourgeoisie, be a radical. So terrible, my gospel is hitting through the form of parables. Not ready, unprepared, just.
So we've actually got like Teamsters in the year 2024 using the word bourgeoisie. Like, has Sean O'Brien used that word? I don't even think fucking Sean Fain has used that word. But here you have this black rank and file dude like using the term. Like, why isn't he the fucking president of the union?
And there's somebody above from Big Will 72. He's one of the founding members of this caucus. Red Teamster.
Okay, well, I need to drop him well, I already dropped him a follow.
Like a fetus, unseen when I move like telekinesis. With the systematic lures we beefing, making a statement. Pay attention to this rap thesis. Get my mind right, gotta strategize. Yes, I want freedom like Arabs in Palestine. War is not a game, it's done to survive. Ready to evolve, it will not be televised. Part of God's army, so I push a hard line. Time to rebel, we be that living sign. Re-education from indoctrinated lies. Back to the basics on how to organize. Yeah, call me Lucifer, the masses I enlighten. Beefing with the gods like Clash of the Titan. Violence is a must if you really want peace. Eradicate the system called the belly.
Why is this guy not the president of the fucking Teamsters? I ask again. Like, he's saying everything that Sean O'Brien needs to be saying.
He needs to be, but he faced a lot of discrimination for being a part-time worker.
Oh, shit,
They're not.
Apparently the fucking part-time workers are where it's at.
They are, because they're pissed off about every concessionary contract because they're the ones who get fucked over every time.
You know, he's definitely rapping like a man who gets fucked over. Well, he's doubly fucked. He's black, he's a worker. And you can tell this is organic. This guy's actually a rapper. He's not like some white dude then like, hey, you need to go and put out a rap because don't your people like rap? You should put out a rap to attract more love. No, you can tell this guy's actually a rapper. Labor notes. You've been harassing me about labor notes for months, Matt. So this is next month?
Yeah, it's next month, April 19th through the 21st, and in Chicago.
Okay.
Registration is closed, so the audience is
fucked.
sad about that.
Yeah, join thousands of union members, officers, and labor activists who are on the front lines in their workplaces and in our communities, organizing new workers and agitating together. Meet troublemakers from across the country and around the world.
The purpose of labor notes has always been to oppose business unionism. That's why we call them the militant labor publication.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a big fan of labor notes. I love labor notes.
And there's going to be like 5,000 people at the conference this time.
Oh, wow. I hope the COVID precautions are on point.
It is a mask requirement.
Okay, good. Because like we don't want super spreader events for the proletariat now. All right. And then at the end, you have this. You have an update, and then you have EWOC, the Emergency Workplace Organizing Committee. Workers reaching out to EWOC for help is at an all-time high. However, workers becoming burnt out and losing interest is also at a high point. This is a reflection of conditions that don't give us anything to look forward to in the future and a service-oriented view of unions. What that entails is workers expecting a contract to solve all their problems and a union to provide everything. The problem with this view as a contract is a pipe dream in many cases. Most startup unions would have contracts to years because of employers' tools to forever appeal NLRB decisions and then send them to Texas to die. Instead, a union must be seen as a mutual aid network, a community of workers who all have each other's backs and provide for their common needs. I agree. There's actually an argument. I think this is we used to argue over this when I was like a Maoist fringe guy all the time. Like, is mutual aid revolutionary? Like, anything can be revolutionary or counter-revolutionary. Nothing is inherently anything. Like, a union can be counter-revolutionary. For example, a union that engages in hate strikes and engages in anti-migrant sentiment, that's a counter-revolutionary, reactionary, anti-proletarian union.
We have to be able to use the tools at our disposals. Unions had an opportunity in the past to build their own self-sufficiency, to build workers' cooperatives that would have them self-funded without having to fuck around with contracts the way they do and take all these concessions.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying that like the DSA should have like a workers cooperative and a large mutual aid network so that 70% of our money doesn't go to funding the staff.
I agree. 70% of our money should go to funding Matt Luttrell.
It needs to go to organizing. We keep trying to organize already organized people and not the unorganized.
That is true. Like, it reminds me of, in one of Sakai's books, I think it was Settlers, like the CPUSA went down on a res in Oklahoma, and they said that we're here to organize the indigenous. And the indigenous people, I think it was the Cherokee, they were like, we're already organized. Come see us again when you're ready to take the land back. And the CPUSA was like, what? Huh? What? You're already organized? Yeah, we're organized on a basis of family units. We're organized on a basis of like hamlets, village, whatever. And like whenever shit happens, like when one of us goes missing, like we're not going to call the cops. We're going to get all our dudes. We're going to get all our rifles together. We're going to go find this missing person. Like that's organized.
And I recall Rick making this point on an episode of Decolonized Buffalo.
Oh, don't talk to me about him. He's mad at me. He blocked me.
We have all of look. I watched both of you. I love both of you. All right. So he made a point that the tribal governments have the actual vanguard. Like what Marxist party has millions of people or hundreds of thousands of people?
The Chinese Communist Party?
I mean, you know your thoughts about them.
I hope you share my thoughts on them.
I do. But that's the vanguard. None of these white organizations. Yeah, that was a mutual aid page. Just to use everything at our disposal.
The biggest obstacle in any type of organizing is the fact that we become vulnerable to retaliation from the bourgeoisie that will target our material conditions first. No, beggars must be choosers mentality. It is cruel. The mass line meeting the masses where there also means listening for what they want before providing something random and unwanted. Yeah, like I've heard of mutual aid groups that like get food out the garbage and then like just show up to the park and like hand it out. First of all, like that's offensive. Like, why are you a bunch of white people feeding black and brown people out of the fucking trash can? Or they,
Like,
they
how out of touch do you have to be to go out in the middle of winter and feed homeless folks cold food?
go feed that shit to people in the trailer park. Go feed that to other white people. Why are you giving us that shit? So yeah, this is pretty interesting. I'm going to link them to this.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So anything else you want to talk about, Matt?
We did gloss over a couple things. 23 million Americans are about to be without internet again.
Really?
Because the Affordable Connectivity Program is just going to be allowed to end.
What does that mean?
It's an internet subsidy that covers part of people's bills for internet service. So that's the only way many people can afford broadband. It was a part of the an act that passed in 2021.
Okay. So basically, just want to kick a bunch of poor people off the internet.
Yeah, and that affects like the Appalachian community so badly because you were talking about like figure out what good internet is. I lose subsidy.
Are you do you get this subsidy thing?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so it's apparently like mainly in Appalachia in the South.
Yeah.
Is it Appalachia or is it Appalachia?
Appalachia.
Oh, so I pronounced it like a Yankee, I guess. So I guess without this, West Virginia won't be able to generate any proletarian Twitch streamers. So it's important that is there really anything that we could do to help with this?
Aside, I know pretty much all that's out there is like petitions that are circulating. Like nobody has been making this a priority.
Yeah, because like Appalachia and the South are not priorities, unfortunately.
But even then, there's like still millions of people outside of Appalachia in the South. People in the Midwest, people in the Pacific Northeast.
The Pacific Northeast. Where's that?
California.
That's the north. That's the Northwest, fool.
Okay.
The Pacific Ocean is over here. The Northeast is up here. How is that Pacific?
Oh
shit! You need to read an atlas, bruh. Shame on Great Britain. Today I was in a cafe in central London. A middle-aged woman noticed my friend's yellow bring them home wristband. Looking warily left and right, she discreetly revealed her hidden Star of David necklace and told us how hard it is for Jews in London. To repeat, this is our capital city in 2024, not the Nazi capital in the 1930s. We should all be doing whatever we can to stand with the Jews against Hamas's bullying henchmen that prowl our streets. The only thing missing from this thing that totally happened is like a Moro's heartbreaking violin solo. Matt, what you doing?
I tried to post in the Twitch chat, but I'm not logged in. Oops.
Oh. What was your first alcohol, Matt?
Oh God. I believe it was rum.
Ew.
You don't like rum?
I don't like any alcohol, actually. Like, mine was Four Loko and Cuddy Sir cheap whiskey.
You had it when the Four Locos still had caffeine, huh?
This was around 2011, 2012. I can't even remember.
That shit used to get people fucked up.
Oh, yeah. It fucks me right off of alcohol.
Shit. I definitely don't drink much. Like I'll drink wine. I'll drink something sweet every once in a while.
You're a fucking Yankee. You live in Kentucky, the home of bourbon, and you're drinking wine.
There's a lot of wine that's made here.
Really? I didn't know.
But
that.
yeah, it's fucking good too. But I just put it in like a sweet drink,
The Irish people.
I'll have a Guinness every now and then. That's actually the only beer I can stomach. And St. Louis is a big beer town. This is where Anheuser-Busch is headquartered. But I can't drink that shit.
Are deeply troubled about the catastrophe that's unfolding.
Because it tastes like piss water or what?
Yeah, that's exactly why.
And when I travel,
plus I'm a bad St. Louisan anyways.
The world, leaders often ask me
what makes you a bad St. Louis?
Because I don't like our local piss water.
Irish have such empathy for the Palestinians.
So this guy's basically like reading Biden for filth right next to him.
People.
This is Leo Varadkar, the Prime Minister of Ireland.
And the answer is simple. We see our history in their eyes. A story of displacement, of dispossession, and national...
Biden's like, can you shut the fuck up, man? And I don't think Varadkar is an Irish name.
Identity.
How did you come over here, buddy?
Questions.
You guys have elected an illegal immigrant as your prime minister? What's wrong with you?
Denied.
I think Biden is Irish, but he's North Irish. He's the people who stayed with Britain, the loyalists.
No, he's not a loyalist. He's not a. I don't think he's an Ulsterman. I think his family's from Donegal or somewhere.
Discrimination, and now hunger.
Let me see, because I think the people in the village that his family originated from, like they put out a statement reading them for filth. Biden. Irish.
They went on some kind of monument and filmed it with a drone.
Every time I'd walk out of his house in Scranton, Pennsylvania when I lived there for a while. He'd look at me and say, "Joey, remember, the best drop of blood in you is Irish." Wow, chauvinist much? Biden said of his grandfather during St. Patrick's Day remarks last month. Biden's connection to Ireland comes on his maternal side through two families in particular, the Blewitts of Ballina in County Mayo and the Finnegans on the Cooley Peninsula in County Louth. I think he also has German and French ancestry as well.
The white people that just like claim their Irish heritage in the U.S., they're the worst.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being like proud of where your people come from, but don't be a chauvinist about it. This is an important reminder as we continue to go to the polls. Let me move this.
What the fuck is that?
You will see.
Lenin.
Biden is going to, I mean, not Biden, well, Biden probably, but Sanders is probably going to be dead next election.
И данная Третья русская революция должна будет в своем конечном итоге привести к победе социализма.
Listen to Lenin.
Bidenist, Leninist.
Yeah. So have you voted, Matt?
No, I have not.
Are you going to?
No.
Oh, that's good.
Are you voting?
No. Why?
What do you think of these people trying to vote uncommitted?
I mean, that's a heavy DSA involvement in it. I mean, it's showing the Democratic Party that a lot of their own base is dissatisfied. So I guess in that aspect, it's good. It's constructive. It's mobilizing people around something. And I mean, that's not a bad thing. Am I going to vote uncommitted? No, I'm just going to not vote at all. I'm going to demonstrate how I'm uncommitted. Also, I know this guy. He was a professor at Texas Tech, and they terminated him for no reason.
Be silent equates to complicity. As decolonial scholars,
did he support Palestine?
Yeah, for supporting Palestine. He's a decolonial scholar, so I don't know who the fuck they thought he was going to support, but yeah, they punished him for it.
Who critique colonialism, we have to seriously engage in what's happening in Palestine. If not, there is a
real tangible risk that if you support Palestine, you will lose your job.
Well, I haven't lost mine yet, but I don't work in academia.
Right.
Have you been able to find work, Matt?
I have not.
Oh.
Since October,
Amazon doesn't owe me a neutral job reference until my NLRB settlement gets approved.
Oh, so they're just probably going to be like, yeah, don't hire this guy. He's a fuck.
Here's the thing. It's like federal law that you're not supposed to trash talk somebody who's looking for a job when they go and call your references and your former employers and shit. But it's extremely hard to prove when they're doing it because nobody's going to be like, we didn't hire you because you're a known union organizer.
Yeah.
Sharing critiques.
And that's why I've been promoting my mutual aid very heavily right now because I run out of unemployment benefits at the end of the month.
Oh dear.
Placement in Palestine, and also even before the founding of
well, we don't want you turning to crime, do we?
Of this nation state, going back to the 1880s. On February 22nd, the conservative media outlet Texas Scorecard.
Speaking of crime, look up the Cornbread Mafia.
The Cornbread Mafia. Is that what you're calling your new gang?
No, that's something that was in my neck of the woods. You know, Central Kentucky counties, the biggest cannabis syndicate.
Oh. Okay, so Kentucky grows more than bluegrass and horses. Oh, y'all were also a heavy slave breeding state as well.
Unfortunately, there was a lot of that.
Yeah, Kentucky and Delaware, like those were the states where they, heavy slave breeding states.
On me, accusing me of anti-Semitism. And if we know a little bit of the history of Texas Scorecard is that they were founded by a lobby group called Empowered Texans, and Empowered Texans was founded by a billionaire.
How can a billionaire empower Texas?
Tim Dunn. On February 23rd, I spoke
to the Empower or Power?
Empower. It was founded by a billionaire, and the name of the lobbying group is Empower Texas.
10 days later, I received an email that I was suspended. It was 3:02 p.m. and I never had any communication.
That reminds me of this this billionaire investment banker that tried to become governor in California. His name was Chamath Palihapitiya. God. He spoke like a progressive, but he ran as a libertarian.
Yeah. You know, a lot of billionaires are actually like fans of the Democrats. Like a lot, especially like a lot of tech billionaires, like they back Democrats.
Yeah, because Democrats are historically like against progressivism, against protectionism, and they allow free trade and all that shit. So that's where they make the most money.
Yeah.
Like Amazon would not be around right now if not for one thing that Trump did in 2018. Alibaba was about to set up warehouses all over the United States, and they started doing like the trade war and all that shit. And so they kept Chinese companies from entering the U.S.
Mm.
Like they would have whipped Amazon's ass.
Definitely.
Be almost as an example and establish a precedent
I don't know why, but I want to be an ice cream scooper. This is why I ignore chat. Y'all be on the most insane shit.
What university professors will expect in the years to come. So I think it's an important battle to face and to contest this repression in Texas. And so I think this is why I'm working with AAUP, lawyers, other organizations, because it is an important case. I believe there's separate cases that can be considered. One, a violation of my First Amendment rights, freedom of expression, academic freedom, and the due process within the institution, and also defamation. That same
So is this
to
former
student government,
professor, is he building his own platform, or what's going on with
This
it?
is he's on Al Jazeera. This is an
He's on
interview. Yeah, but no, I believe he's struggling for justice. Like, they just suspended this guy for no reason.
Members are
so he has a lot of support from academics all around the world, and also from students, that not just students that he taught, but students in general.
Senators of the student government. And
don't they have a campus workers union of some sort?
It doesn't matter. A union, if these fucking people like get it in their mind to fuck with you, they put you on canary mission or whatever, a union really ain't gonna do shit. So that's why you have to organize the students, other faculty, and progressive people all around the world to be like, hey, this is freedom of expression. Like, that's supposed to be one of our constitutional rights. So a union would be nice, but like, this is political harassment. So there has to be a political response.
For a resolution to reinstate me. That's, of course, it's difficult to reinforce, but given that if a student government passes a resolution, at least there's a little bit more pressure on the university. However, there is a culture of fear.
Good for you, Jack. Jack is one of the DSA guys from Salt Lake City. He says he's late for the party, but he is a Teamster and he plans on joining Teamsters Mobilize.
That's where it's at.
That has been.
See, they used to think that the current administration that is called Teamsters for a Democratic Union, that's Sean Fain's caucus. As soon as they got into power, they sold the Teamsters out. As soon as they got rid of the Hoffa era leadership.
You mean Sean O'Brien? I thought Sean Fain was UAW.
Did I say Fain?
It's okay. The names are still like very close.
Created in these institutions.
All power to him. If you're in St. Louis, I'm doing my socialist night school tomorrow. It's at Trinity Church in the Central West End at 7 o'clock. So, yeah, hit me up. Should be a good time. Matt, anything you want to close with?
Is that the homeless shelter?
No, it's not a fucking homeless shelter.
Oh, my bad. I knew you worked for a church, and the church ran the homeless shelter.
No, the church would not let me do a socialist night school. No, they do want me to do a attendance rights training. But no, that is not the shelter that I work at. It's an entirely different thing. I don't shit where I eat.
Okay, I got you.
Of course, the Canadian ran off to go watch hockey. So, anything you want to close with?
I just wanted to thank everybody for watching. Definitely check out that link, the mutual aid link in the chat, and come and check out the link that I'll have posted on Twitter to the site that we reviewed, where all the embedded links and everything were at.
All right. Well, all power to the people. Thanks for coming on, Matt. Let's do it again sometime.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
With better audio.
With better audio. Get rid of that furnace. It sounds like it's about to explode behind you. Good night.
I don't have any option to replace